Every once in a while, a young player steps onto a massive stage and refuses to be overwhelmed, even when the scoreboard doesn't go their way. That was exactly the story for Eala'S in Rome, where she walked into a packed Italian Open arena facing world number 2 Elena Rybakina, one of the most powerful hitters on the WTA Tour. And yet, instead of shrinking under pressure, the teenager from the Philippines showed composure, grit, and a level of maturity that made this match far more than just another early round exit. The final score read 6-4, 6-3 in favor of Rybakina, but the numbers alone don't tell the full story of what unfolded on Court 1. From the very first games, Eala'S made it clear she wasn't there just to survive. She was there to compete, to test, and to challenge one of the best in the world. Rybakina, known for her thunderous serve and clean ball striking, immediately tried to impose control, but Eala'S responded with sharp anticipation and fearless baseline exchanges that kept the crowd engaged. There were moments in the first set where Eala'S actually pushed the world number 2 into uncomfortable positions, forcing errors that drew applause from the Roman crowd. But experience matters at this level, and Rybakina found her rhythm just in time, tightening her service games and capitalizing on the few break-point opportunities she created. The first set slipped away 6-4, but even then, Eala'S body language told a different story from what the scoreboard suggested. She wasn't discouraged, she wasn't folding under pressure. Instead, she kept adjusting, learning in real time against one of the most complete players in the women's game. As the second set began, you could see a subtle shift in tactics from Eala'S, trying to open the court more and avoid giving Rybakina easy rhythm shots. Still, Rybakina's heavy ground strokes started to wear down the rallies, gradually pulling ahead as she secured the second set 6-3 and closed out the match. But what stood out after the handshake at the net was not disappointment, but respect. Eala'S walked off court with applause following her, a sign that fans recognized the effort, not just the result. In many ways, this match felt like a statement rather than a defeat, especially for a player still building experience at this elite level. Eala'S has already shown in previous tournaments that she is not intimidated by big names, and this performance only reinforced that belief. Against a player like Rybakina who can dictate points in just a few shots, even holding serve becomes a small victory in itself. And Eala'S had those moments, those flashes where she showed she belongs on this stage. The challenge now is consistency, turning those flashes into sustained pressure over an entire match against top 5 opponents. If there is anything this Italian Open run proved, it is that Eala'S is closing the gap, step by step, with the sport's elite. And for fans watching back home, this was not just another loss, but a glimpse of what the future of tennis might look like. Rybakina moves on as expected, but Eala'S leaves Rome with something far more valuable than a scoreline: experience, belief, and growing respect on the tour. The Italian crowd acknowledged that too, giving her a warm send-off that said everything words could not. And as she continues her journey through the WTA circuit, performances like this will only add to her reputation as one of the most exciting young talents to watch. Because sometimes in tennis, the scoreboard doesn't tell the whole story, but the effort on court does. And that is exactly what Eala'S delivered in Rome, a performance that hinted at a much bigger future ahead. Looking deeper into the match, one of the most impressive aspects was her willingness to step inside the baseline and take control of rallies, even against a hitter as explosive as Rybakina. That kind of bravery is not always visible in the scoreline, but it is exactly what coaches and analysts notice when evaluating young players at this level. Rybakina, for her part, did what top players do. She raised her level when it mattered most, especially on crucial break points where her serve became nearly untouchable. But even in those moments, Eala'S managed to extend rallies and make the world number 2 earn every single point. That is often the biggest test for emerging players. Not just hitting winners, but forcing champions into long, uncomfortable exchanges. The Roman atmosphere played its part as well, with fans appreciating the underdog spirit and reacting loudly to every tight game. It felt like Eala'S fed off that energy, especially in the opening set where she refused to let Rybakina run away with the scoreline early on. Even though she eventually dropped serve at key moments, her shot selection showed maturity beyond her years. At just 19 years old, matches like this are less about the final result and more about building identity on court. and Eala is clearly shaping hers as a fearless competitor who is not afraid of reputations or rankings. That mindset alone is what separates promising juniors from players who eventually break into the top tier of the sport. The Italian Open has always been a tournament where young talents can test themselves on clay against the very best. And for Eala, this experience will likely serve as a benchmark for what she needs to improve moving forward. Whether it's adding more power to her serve, or finding ways to neutralize heavy hitters earlier in rallies, the lessons here are clear. Rybakina continues her run in Rome as one of the tournament favorites, her game perfectly suited for the slow clay conditions when she finds rhythm. But even she would acknowledge that matches like this, where the opponent pushes back relentlessly, are crucial preparation for deeper stages of the competition. In contrast, Eala leaves Rome with her head held high, knowing she pushed one of the best players in the world longer than many expected. That alone speaks volumes about her trajectory in the game. As the WTA season continues, all eyes will be on how she builds on this performance, especially in upcoming tournaments where confidence often plays as big a role as technique. For a young player, matches against top-ranked opponents are rarely about immediate victory. They are about understanding gaps, testing limits, and discovering what it takes to reach that next level. Eala's ability to stay composed after losing key points also stood out, as she rarely showed frustration and instead focused on resetting for the next rally. That emotional control is often overlooked, but it is one of the most important traits for success at the highest level of tennis. Meanwhile, Rybakina's efficiency in closing out sets once she gained momentum showed exactly why she is ranked among the elite of the sport. The contrast between experience and youth was clear, but not in a way that felt one-sided or discouraging. Instead, it highlighted how competitive the WTA Tour has become, where even rising players can challenge established stars in meaningful stretches. As Eala continues to gain exposure at events like the Italian Open, the expectation is not just results, but steady progression. And based on what we saw in Rome, that progression is already well underway. So while the result reads as a straight-set defeat, the bigger picture tells a far more encouraging story for the young Filipino star. And that is exactly why this match in Rome will be remembered not just for who won, but for how much promise was shown on court. If anything, Eala'S performance proves she belongs on this stage, and her journey is only beginning now. Ahead continues.